welcome back to Cinderella Math. This is the PSAT/NMSQT, so the National Merit Scholarship Qualifying Test. I'm doing practice test, the second math module. So if you're looking for module 1 of the first of practice test 1, that's in a separate video. This will be module 2. This is the exact practice test from the College Board website for the PSAT/NMSQT as of October 2024. So this is as of present time. This is the exact test from the College Board website. So I'm just going to grab that and we are going to jump straight into module 2. So you do want pencil, paper, your calculator. Make sure it's on the approved College Board list, which you can find on the College Board website. Any scientific calculator is approved, and then most graphing calculators are approved. Again, just check that list on the College Board website. And you can also, I would recommend popping up, let me find it here, the Desmos graphing calculator. They do have a specific testing one, but if you just pop up the regular one, it's honestly fine. Let me find that right. Nope. Right there. It says Desmos College Board Digital PSAT, blah, blah, blah. The regular one's fine if you can't find this exact version. All right, let's get back into the test. So yeah, this is module 2. We do have a formula sheet. It's mostly geometry, so if we need that, it is there for us. Then we'll jump right in. The box plot summarizes 15 data values. What is the median? So this is really just testing if we know what a box and whisker plot, the pieces of it. This is the minimum, this is the maximum, and right here, this line in the middle of the box, or it's not always in the middle, but the line in the box is the median. So that is 5. Number 2, we have a quadratic. What is the x-intercept? So we just need to look on the x-axis. And where does it hit? 4. So over 4 up nothing. That is our x-intercept. Pretty good so far. Always starts easy and then it gets worse. Going up here to number 3, Henry receives a $60 gift card to pay for movies online. He uses his gift card to buy 3 movies for $7.50 each. He spends the rest on renting movies for $1.50 each. How many movies can he rent? Okay, so he started off with 60 bucks and we're going to subtract the 3 he bought. So he bought 3 for $7.50 each. So we'll do 3 times $7.50. So just use your regular calculator or you can pop to Desmos. Let's do 3 times $7.50. So that's $22.50. So we'll do 60 minus $22.50 for those 3 movies he bought. And that is $37.50. So that's how much he has left after buying the movies. And then he's just going to rent some movies. And that costs $1.50 each. So if we take this, divide $1.50, just use your calculator there, and we get 25. He can rent 25 movies. All right. Number 4, we have a system. X equals 49 and y equals the root of x plus 9. So where do these intersect? What is the value of y? So we're going to take the x, plug in. So direct substitution. So y is the square root of 49 plus 9. Y is 7 plus 9. Y is 16. So we just took the x, plugged it in. If you did not want to do that, this is also one you could use Desmos. I don't know if it makes it any faster. So you could tell it. I will show you though. Tell it x is 49, and then a new line, y is square root. You can either type SQRT, or you can come down to the keyboard and hit the square root button. Square root of x plus 9. And then you're looking for where these intersect. So you might have to zoom in or zoom out. There we go. And then click where they intersect. This is the X, this is the Y, and the question was asking for the Y. So 16, which is what we got by hand. So either one, either method works. 16, which is choice A. Number 5, a cherry pitting machine pits 12 pounds of cherries in 3 minutes. Okay, let's make a proportion. We have cherries and we have minutes. 12 pounds in 3 minutes. At this rate, how many minutes, so I don't know, will it take to pit 96 pounds of cherries? Crisscross, because this is a proportion, so we're cross multiplying. 12 times x is 12x. 3 times 96, let your calculator take care of that, is 288. Divide 12, and that is 24. It will take the machine 24 minutes to pit the 96 pounds. All right. The other way you can do that is say, okay, 12 pounds in 3 minutes. So 12 divide 3 means it does 4 pounds in 1 minute. So how many minutes will it take to do 96? So 96 pounds, how many minutes? 4 times what is 96, or basically 96 divide 4, and that is 24. So if it's 4 pounds in 1 minute, it'll be 96 pounds in 24 minutes. 4 times 24 is 96. 1 times 24 is 24. I like the first way better with the proportion, but they do both work. Number 6, if 2x equals 12, what is the value of 9x? Let's solve for x by dividing 2. So x is 6, and then put that in. 9 times 6 is 54. That's what you would type in, 54. Okay, that was 6. Coming to 7. Line K is defined by y equals 1/4 x plus 1. Line J is parallel. So we need to remember, we have line K, line J. Parallel lines have the same slope. So what is the slope of this one? Y equals mx plus b. M is slope, so it's 1/4. So if this has a slope of a 1/4, this will have a slope of a 1/4. Parallel lines have the same slope. So you would tell it 1/4. Which of the following list has the same median as the list shown? So I will do this by hand, and then you can do this one in Desmos too. So median is the fancy word for middle. You do want them lined up from least to greatest, which they've already done, and then let's find the middle. Cross off the low, cross off the high. Low, high. Low, high, middle. So the median of that set is 8. Now looking at our choices, which one of those also has a median of 8? Low, high, low, high, low, high. So that would be 6. So A is out. Low, high, low, high, low, high. Yep, that one has a median of 8. So I think that's the answer. Let's make sure the rest are wrong. Low, high, low, high, low, high. So that would be 10. Low, high, low, high, low, high. That would be 10. So only B has a median of 8. So B is correct. If you wanted to do that in Desmos, again, I don't know if this really saves you time, but I'll show you how to do it just in case. You're going to make a list. You're going to say L1 equals, and then a hard bracket. L stands for list. 1 is just saying it's list 1 because it is possible to have multiple lists at a time. And then you would just type in that list, which was, let me see here. I'm doing the original list in the problem. 6, 6, 3 8s, 10, and 21. You do want to put commas in between because it is a list. It will tell you how many things you've typed. You can kind of just ignore that, or you can count and make sure you got them all. Click into a new line and then tell it you want the median of list 1. And there's 8. And then you would just have to do that to all the choices until you find the one that has the same median. Honestly, I think that would take you longer than just doing it by hand, but it is an option and I wanted to show it to you. Okay, so that number 8 was B. They both had a median. The original and B have a median, a middle value of 8. Coming up to 9. The length of the base of a certain parallelogram is 89% the height of the parallelogram. Okay, so here's the base, and then here's the height. Okay, so the length is 89% of the height. So we don't know what the height is, and then we know the base is 89% of that. Put your pencil right here, bump, bump. So the base is 0.89 of the height. D. That's honestly, that's not even about the geometry. It's about knowing to turn the percentage to this decimal. That's all. That one's worded weird. It looks harder than it is. You just needed to know that the base was 89% or bump, bump, 0.89 of the height. Like, so if this would have been 100, this would be 89. Because 100 times 0.89. Okay. 10. For a camping trip, a group bought X 1-liter bottles of water and Y 3-liter bottles of water for a total of 240 liters. Which equation represents this? Well, it's definitely going to equal 240. If we had a choice that didn't, we could knock it out, but they all do. So X has 1 liter, so 1 per X plus Y has 3 liters. 3 times Y. Usually 1 we can just ghost, right? It can be an invisible coefficient, which gives us A. Don't need to solve or anything. We were just setting it up. Okay, looking at 11. Which table gives the 3 values of X and their corresponding values of Y? So first thing I would do would be plug in 0. Is that in all the tables? Yep. If you plug in 0 for X, make your own little table here. -4 times 0 is 0 plus 40. 0 plus 40 is 40. So this one's wrong. B is maybe. C is maybe. D is wrong. So just right there, we got it down to either B or C. And now let's plug in 1. So we did 0 and got 40. We're going to do 1. -4 times 1 is -4 plus 40, which is 36. So B is out. C is in. I'm not even going to do the last one because that's the only one that would have been remaining. Like we had already ruled out A and D, and then this guy right here ruled out B. So C is good. Now, you technically don't have to do that by hand. Let me show you how to do that in Desmos. So that equation was y equals -4x plus 40. And then you're going to click this little cog right there and click the table, like the XY chart. Boom. 0, 40, 136, 232. That's all you needed, but say you wanted more, you can actually click in here and just push your tab button. 3, 4, 5. You can do negatives too. -1, -10. So this is a great tool here that'll generate a table for you. You put in the function, it'll do the table. You hit the cog and then the little chart. Okay. All right, let's get that off. Back to the test. Number 12. The shaded region represents the solutions to an inequality. Which ordered pair is a solution to this inequality? Okay, so anything in the shaded. So just go through the choices. 0, -4. So over 0, down 4. Is that in the shaded? No. 0, 4. Over 0, up 4. Is that in the shading? No. -4, comma 0. Left 4, up nothing. Is that in the shaded? No. Over 4, up nothing. So right 4, up nothing. Is that in the shading? Yes. The only one of those choices that was in the shaded region, and the shaded is the answers, is D. Number 13, we have a triangle. We have triangle JKL. It says K and L are each 48. Okay, so let's put K and L at the bottom, and we'll put J here. 48 degrees, 48 degrees. So we do have an isosceles triangle here, because if two angles match, then across from them, their opposite sides will match. So if they were asking what type of triangle, this would be isosceles. But they're asking what's the measure of J. So we need to just have memorized. This might be on the formula sheet. Let me look real fast, but you should really have it memorized. You shouldn't have to go to the formula sheet for this. Yes, it is on the formula sheet right here, the very bottom. The sum of the measures in degrees of the angles in a triangle is 180. So you should just have that memorized. Even though they give that to you, we should just know that any triangle in the whole world, the three angles add up to 180. So we're looking for this guy. Let's call him X. So 48 plus 48 plus X needs to add to 180, and then just solve. So that would be 96 plus X equals 180. Subtract 96, which will then give you 84. Degrees, it does say like disregard the degree symbol. So you would just enter 84. And that's it. Next page. The solution to the given systems is XY. What's the value of Y? That is going to be easier to go to Desmos. So I'll do it in Desmos first, and then I'll do it by hand for anybody interested. Okay, so coming to Desmos, x squared 14x plus 48. Okay, I think that's the first one. We can see that's a quadratic, which we knew because it had a square in it. And x plus 8 equals 11. Okay, and you're looking for where these intersect, and then you're going to click where they do. I think I zoomed out too much. There. And they wanted the Y value. So X, Y, 99. So what is the value of Y? You would type in 99 for 14. Okay, I will do that by hand now. Honestly, it's not as bad as I first thought, because the second one just solved for X. We're going to -8, and X is 3. And now just substitute that in for the first one. So Y equals 3 squared plus 14 times 3 plus 48. So that's 9 plus 42 plus 48. So that's 51 plus 48, which is 99. Of course, you could use calculator. I'm just lazy. So actually, it wasn't that bad by hand, but Desmos works too. Either way, we got a Y value of 99. A cleaning service that cleans both offices and homes can clean at most 14 places per day. Which inequality represents this? So the most this company can do is 14. So they can equal 14 or they can be under 14. They just cannot do more than that. They don't have enough employees or time in the day or whatever. So that will take out B, because that's going the wrong way, and D, that's going the wrong way. Because they can do at most 14. So that's the absolute maximum they can do. And that includes offices, which is F, that we usually don't use O because it looks like a 0. So some offices plus some homes. Their total cleaning needs to be under or equal to 14. That's A. It just wouldn't make sense to do a minus. This is offices plus the homes is going to be under or equal to 14. 16. Okay, we're going to factor. Looking at this, we have a 2, a 38, and a 10. I see a greatest common factor of 2. Pull that out. 2 divide 2 would be 1x squared. 38 divide 2 would be 19 with an x. And 10 divide 2 would be 5. And yes, we usually don't put the 1. So this is a factor. And this is a factor. So 2 is the one that's listed. And that was pulling out the greatest common factor. And since all these were even, I knew I could get out a 2. 17. We have an equation that represents the number of sweaters and number of shirts that Yasnina has purchased for $160. If Yasnina purchased 2 sweaters, how many shirts did she purchase? Okay, so it says X is sweaters and Y is shirts. Okay, so we did 2 sweaters. So put 2 right there. So we have 40 times 2 plus 20y equals 160. Solving for y, which will be how many shirts, because it says right here, number of shirts is y. 40 times 2 is 80. Going to subtract 80, get it off. So we have 20y is 80, dividing 20, and y is 4. So she bought 4 shirts. Okay, we do have a quadratic here on number 18. I can tell it's a quadratic because it has a square. This equation gives the estimated stock price in dollars for a certain company X days after their new product launched. And they're only looking between the first day it launched and the 20th day. Which statement is the best interpretation of that point? Okay, so we don't actually have to solve anything. Okay. They are telling us that X is the days. So this is our X. So it's been 1 day since product launched. And it says that Y is the dollars of the stock price. So this is this. So 1 day since it launched and the stock price is $83. So now let's read the choices. I think that would be C. 1 day since the product launched, the stock price is 83. And that is, I'm checking if that's right. So again, that's a reading question more than a math question. You don't have to look at this equation at all. That's just fluff. They are telling you that Y is the price. So that's why this is your Y value. 83 is your price. And they said X is the days since this product launched. So that's 1 day. So 1 day since they launched their new product, maybe it's like a new Xbox or Switch or whatever, the stock price is now $83. So that is C. So that honestly is a reading question. Be careful there. F of X is 39. For which of the following does this show it? Remember, F of X is a fancy Y. So Y is 39. So no matter what the X, this can be anything. The Y is going to be 39 always. If you were to graph that and you come on the Y axis, you come straight through 39. And it would be a horizontal line through 39. So that's going to be B. You can see on B, all the Y values are 39. Okay. Coming to 20. A triangular prism has a height of 8 and a volume of 216. What is the area of the base? Okay, so let's grab our formula sheet for this. A triangular prism is this one right here. Okay, it said we had a height of 8 and the entire volume was 216. Okay, so we have volume equals 1/3 length, width, height. So we have 216 equals 1/3 length, width, 8. Okay, let me come back to the paper now. There we go, number 20. Let me just rewrite that. So we know that volume is 1/3 length times width times height, and they told us the volume is 216. We're going to keep the 1/3, keep the length, keep the width, and they told us the height is 8. Okay, so what is the area of the base? So I could go back to the picture, but I kind of have it over here a little bit. This is going to be a poor drawing, but the base is a rectangle, right? This was length, this was width. So these two together is the area of the base. Okay, so we need to get what that is. So what we can just say, this is A for area of the base times 1/3 times 8 equals 216. Let's divide by 8. That'll get this off. I'm going to use my calculator. 216 divide 8 is 27. So we have 27 equals 1/3 A. And then let's times by the reciprocal of a third, which would be 3/1, or just 3. And we would get 81 is A. 81 centimeters, 81 centimeters squared. And I'm just checking, and the correct answer is 27. Hold on, let's do that again. Volume is 1/3 length, width, height. But these two together is the area of the base. Oh, it tells us right here. The volume of the triangle prism is equal to BH. Oh, no 1/3. I must have grabbed the wrong formula. Silly me. Let's go back to that. Sorry. That is a pyramid, not a prism that I was looking at. Sorry, this is the pyramid, which is not the shape we have. All right, disregard what I've done so far. They actually give us the formula in there. Reading is important. Okay, let's try that again. So we have a triangular prism with a height of 8 and a volume of this. And then they say in the parentheses, the volume of a triangular prism is equal to BH. Okay, so volume is BH, where B is the area of the base. Okay, that's what they're looking for. What is the area of the base? They told us the height is 8. They told us the volume is 216, and we're looking for the B. Divide by 8, and 27 is B, and the answer is in square centimeters. What is the area in square centimeters? So it's 27 centimeters square. You would just type in 27 most likely. So I went hunting for a formula that I did not need because they gave it to us. So shame on me for not reading through all the way, but that is correct. Okay. 21. The graph shows the momentum y in Newton seconds of an object x seconds after the started moving. What is the average rate from x is 2 to x is 6? So average rate of change is a fancy way to say slope. So we're going to take the slope from x being 2 until x being 6. So we know slope is rise over run. So it looks like we're coming up 2 over 1, 2, 3, 4. That reduces to a half. That would be the slope or the rate of change from x is 2 to x is 6. So you would just type in 1/2. Let me check that. Yes, that's right. You can also do 0.5, but I prefer the fraction. But in the answer key here, it says they'll take either. 22. One of the two equations in the system of linear equations is given. The system has infinitely many solutions. Which could be the second equation? So when we think of a system of equations, right, we have two lines, and usually they hit, and that point is your solution. That's what happens normally. We also have the situation where you have parallel lines and they don't hit, and that would be no solution. And then one more case is what they're asking here is that they have infinitely many solutions. So you graph one line and then you graph the other and it hits right on top. So it's actually the same line. So that's what we're looking for. There's a couple different ways to get this done. I would maybe just go ahead and solve this for y. I'm going to bring this over. So 25y is 15x plus 65, dividing by 25. And I get y is, this reduces to 3/5 x, and this reduces to 13/5. And then I would just do the same thing to all the choices until I find the one that's the exact same, because they're only going to have infinitely many solutions if it's the same line. Okay, so doing that, let's just go through the choices. A, I would move this over, and that would be 20y equals negative 12x plus 52, and I would divide 20. And I can tell that's going to be wrong because this is negative divided positive will be negative, and I'm looking for a positive slope. So I can just stop right there. A is going to be bad. Okay, try it for B. I'm going to move this over. So this will be 20y is negative 12x minus 52, divide 20. And again, I can stop right there because negative divide positive, this will be negative. I'm looking for a positive slope. So I can tell B is not it. Let's try C. Move that over. So that would be 20y is 12x plus 52, divide 20. 12 over 20, if you divide by 4, you would get y equals 3/5 x, and 52 over 20, you can divide by 4 and get 13 over 5. And that is correct. Really, we should do D and make sure it's wrong, but I'm not going to. It's C. That was probably the long way to do this. It worked, and C is right. But I think it would be easier to take this over to Desmos and type in the original negative 15, 25, 60. Okay, so the original given was negative 15x plus 25y equals 65. There it is. And then start typing the choices until you find the one that lands right on top of it. Okay, so A, 12, 20, 52. So we already know A is wrong, but let's see that it's wrong. So here's A. See, that didn't land on top of it, so that's wrong. What was B? 12, 20, negative 52. We already know this is wrong. We're just going to confirm. Nope, that did not land on top of it. It's not B. So we already know C is right. Let's confirm. And there it is. It hit right on top of it. We're good. We could check D. If you did, you would see that that does not land right on top of it. So the correct answer is C. Oops, wrong thing, sorry. Correct answer is C. 23. A bus traveled on the highway and on local roads to complete a trip of 160 miles. The trip took 4 hours. The bus traveled at an average speed of 55 miles per hour on the highway and 25 miles per hour on local roads. X is the time in hours. It was on the highway. And Y is the time in hours it was on local. Which system represents this? Okay, so it took 4 hours. So highway plus local took 4 hours. So that will get rid of A because that has the wrong, and that will get rid of C. Okay. Now, miles wise, they were going 55 miles per hour on the highway. So 55 for every hour they were on the highway, plus 25 miles per hour on the local. So 25 miles per hour every hour they were on the local, and that added up to a total trip of 160 miles. So that would give us B. So again, that was really more of a reading question. All right, 24. We have a quadrilateral P prime, Q prime, R prime, S prime is similar to quadrilateral PQRS, where they all correspond to their buddies. The measure of angle P is 30. Okay, so we just have some random quadrilateral. It doesn't actually say what it is. It's just any four-sided shape. I'm just faking this. It says P is 30, Q is 50, R is 70. All right, and then it's similar to another quadrilateral, P prime, Q prime, R prime, S prime. And the question is, what is the measure of P prime? They're the same. If P is 30, P prime is 30. It doesn't matter about the side lengths. The length of each side is blah, blah, blah 3 times. That does not change the angles. So that means if this is 1, this is 3. If this is 10, this is 30. That changes the sides, but it does not change the angles. So what you needed to know there is similar figures, angles are equal. The sides are different, but the angles are not. We have a function for 25. This represents the perimeter of a rectangle with a length of x and a fixed width. What is the width in centimeters of the rectangle? The function is the perimeter of a rectangle with a length x and a fixed width. Okay, so let's draw a little rectangle here. It has a length x and then a fixed width. So if this is x, the top is also x. If this is w, this is also w. So the perimeter, if you add that all up, would be x plus w plus w. So right here you get 2x. Oops. And right here you get 2w. Well, we have the 2x. This must be the 2w. 2w is 244. Solve. Divide by 2. And we get that the width is 122. So this width is 122, as is this. That was a little tricky. Draw the picture. I do think it helps on 25. 26. The functions f and g are defined below. Which of the following equations displays as a constant or coefficient the maximum value of the function it defines, where x is greater or equal to 0? So which one shows its, let me read that again. The functions f and g are defined by the equations where x is greater or equal to 0. Which of the following equations displays as a constant or coefficient the maximum value of the function? Okay, so these are both exponential functions, and we're seeing which one has its maximum. Okay, let's just look at f for a second. Actually, I think let's graph it. We could do this by hand. I think a graph's going to be easier. So 33.4 x plus 3. 33.4 x plus 3. Okay, let's come back over to Desmos. Sorry, I have too many tabs open. There he is. Okay, so what is its maximum value? It's up here. It keeps on going, right? So I do not think this is displaying its maximum value. Let's try the second one. So that's 33. Oh, x has got to be greater than or equal to 0. Hold on, I don't know if I took that into account. X has got to be greater or equal to 0. So let's restrict this. You do a squiggly bracket. X has got to be greater or equal to 0. Ah, okay. So now, what is the maximum value now? It is 2.122. Well, that's not showing in our function, right? That's not this, that's not this, that's not this. And actually, I don't think we're looking at the exponent. Let's try the second one. I can turn this one off by clicking right there. Okay. Second one. 33.16.4 x minus 2. Okay, and again, we're only looking, so let's restrict this squiggly bracket. X needs to be greater or equal to 0. Now, what's that maximum value? Right there. Ooh, it's 33. So this one does display its maximum value. So the second one did. That is a weird question. So only the second one. Let me see if that's right. I think it is. Yes. Ew, that's weird. So by hand, how would you do that? So if you're only looking just at the first one, you can tell it's an exponential, and you can tell it's an exponential decay, because the formula for an exponential is a times b to the power of x. And if this b, whoever has the exponent, is in between 0 and 1, it's a decay. That's just a rule. So graphically, that means it starts high and then comes low. So, and it could be over here too. And we saw that it actually was. But it says that x has to be bigger or equal to 0. So when x is 0, that's going to be the highest it is, because then it's falling. So plug in 0. We would get 33 times 0.4 to the 0 plus 3. So that's 33 times 0.4 to the third. And then you would just run that through a calculator. You would not want to do that by hand. 33 times 0.4 to the third. And that's where we get the 2.112. So when x is 0, we got a value of 2.112. That was F. Okay. And then for G, you can tell this is a decay as well. Same reasoning. That B value is in between 0 and 1. So this is also a decay. So it means it will be starting high and falling lower. We're restricting the domain, the x values, to be greater or equal to 0. So at 0, that's going to be the highest it's going to be, and then it falls from there. So plug 0 here. So for G, that'd be 33 times 0.16 times 0.4 to the 0 minus 2. That's 33 times 0.16 times 0.4 to the negative 2. Run that through your calculator. And that's 33. So that highest point right there is over 0, up 33, which is displayed in the second or G equation. That is weird. Interesting. I do think the graph, the Desmos, was the easiest way to do it. That is a weird question. Last one, 27. We have a quadratic. What is the value? Okay. In the given equation, A and B are positive constants. The sum of the solutions is given by K times 4A. Okay, what is the value? Okay. Okay. I would be tempted to go ahead and distribute this x to have 64x squared minus 16ax plus 4bx plus ab equals 0. Now I'm going to see if it does us any good to factor by grouping. So the greatest common factor here would be 16. He has two x's, he has an x, so they have one x in common. 64 divided 16 is 4. He would still have an x. 16 divided 16, that'd be minus 1, and he'd still have an a. You could take out the 1 if you don't like it. And then over here, what's the greatest common factor would be b. You would still have 4x plus a. Oh, no, that doesn't match. Oh, wait. Okay, hold on. I think I just goofed. Let me rewrite this. 64x squared. I'm going to put the x right here. We're allowed to do that. Now distribute. Negative 16ax, negative 4bx. There we go. Now let's factor by grouping. I think I had slipped a sign there. Greatest common factor in the first set would be 16x, which would leave 4x minus a, or 1a. Greatest common factor in the second one, you could do a negative b, which would leave 4x minus a, right? Because if you did divide negative b, this would cancel, and a divide negative 1 is negative a. Yes, that is good. Okay, so now this has worked. You put the front stuff together. So 16x minus b, and then see this one twice, you just bring it once. 4x minus a. Okay. So set those to 0. So 16x minus b equals 0. So 16x equals b. X equals b over 16. And now the other one, 4x minus a equals 0. 4x equals a. X equals a divide 4. Okay, so our two solutions are b over 16 and a over 4. And now they're telling us the sum of the solutions. So I'm going to white all this out. The sum of the solutions is this. So add these together. B over 16 plus a over 4. Well, we're going to have to times by 4 to get a common denominator. So b over 16 plus 4a over 16 is b plus 4a over 16. That is the sum, but this is also the sum. Okay. There has got to be a better way to do this. I will look at the formal answer key in a second. So with our sum, b plus 4a over 16 equals k parentheses 4a plus b. We are solving for k. Oh, okay. So look, this is this. So how did they get the 16 off? They just times by 16, this went off, and wouldn't this just be 16? Is k 16? Let me see. Ooh, that's a problem. It's 1/16. Oh, okay. Oh, yes, yes, yes. That makes sense. I messed up at the very end. Okay, so look at the left side right here. Instead of dividing by 16, there's a 1 right there, yeah? It's invisible. We could say this is 1/16 times b plus 4a. And this is reversible because of commutative property of addition, right? So that's that. And then this is k, 1/16. There we go. Woo! I am looking through the answer key now to see if there was a better way to do that. They gave 2 ways to do it, and they did not do it like me. But reading through their explanation, I don't know if it was any easier. Um, yeah, I'll leave that. I'm gonna leave it like that. I really don't think theirs was any easier. I mean, I'll try to talk it through the way. If you're good, you can go ahead and sign off. That was the last problem. I will try to do it their way. So they're saying we have 2 solutions, the sum of the solutions, and this is a quadratic, so typically we're going to have 2 solutions. So they're saying let those solutions be x equals p and x equals q. So if you reverse this, you could say the factor was x minus p, x minus q, and then you still have the 64. Right? Because if you FOILed these, you'd get x squared, but you need 64x squared. So that's why there's a 64 in front. And then this still equals 0. Okay, so then I think they do go ahead and FOIL that. So that's x squared minus xq minus xp plus pq, and then you still have the 64. And then you could distribute the, do not know. If you look at what I have there in the green, that's very similar to the top. So I don't know if this really helps you. But I guess, right, if you just look at the x stuff, if you distribute this through and just looking at the middle, it would be negative 64xq, negative 64x, negative 64xp. That is the same as this. That's the middle term. So if you factor out the negative 64 and the x, you would have q minus p. Is that right? They have p plus q. Okay, I give up on that. I like my way better. Go with my way. K was 1/16. Ooh, there we go. All right. I gave up on that one. It's getting a little late here. Hopefully that was okay. If you want me to redo it, I can make a separate video just with that one when it's not late and I can think better, but we did get it. They also did it with quadratic formula. You can just look at the answer key for that. It does work. I think my way was easier. Not that this is easy. I mean, it's the last question, so that was hard. All right, this has been Module 2 of PSAT NMSQT Practice Test 1. I hope this was helpful, and I'll see you again soon. Again, Module 1 is in a different video. Bye-bye.